Let's talk about Lord Shiva. So, my name is Karishma, I live in South Africa, and I am a Hindu. So, I grew up practicing African traditional faiths, and I still do. So, it's a lot simpler to practice both of them at the same time because they have so many similarities. First of all, Sanatana Dharma, which is the original name, is a way of life rather than a religion, as well as African traditional faiths, otherwise known as African spirituality, is also a way of life rather than a religion. So, I want you to look at this image of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva looks a lot or resembles a lot of how Southern African Sangomas look like. So if you don't know what a Sangoma is basically a Southern African healer who can read people, offer remedies, and yeah, they live by the way of African spirituality. So I want you to look at this image of Lord Shiva, and I'm about to show you the resemblance or the similarities between him and a Sangoma. So basically, number one, Lord Shiva has dreadlocks. Okay, number two, he has a snake around him, which symbolizes Kundalini. He has a loincloth made from animal skin, and then he has a trishula or a trident. And yeah, look at the Rudraksha beads that he is wearing, the third eye, the background, the nature. To me, he symbolizes, or he looks a lot like a Sangoma. So wait, I'm going to show you. So here's an image of a Sangoma. So they have dreadlocks. Lord Shiva has dreadlocks, and we all know the meaning of dreadlocks, I assume. Dreadlocks are basically for spiritual enlightenment, so that you can retain all the energy to your crown chakra. So he has that loincloth over there, and then he has some Sangoma beads, which basically also symbolize enlightenment. I'm going to show you the next picture, but before that, on the dreadlocks, he's got those cowrie shells, and in some pictures of Lord Shiva, he has two cowrie shells around his Rudraksha. Next picture. Here's another one. I think this one sort of like explains itself. So remember when I said Lord Shiva is holding a trishula, otherwise known as a trident. I'm sorry for the pronunciation though, but yeah. This Sangoma lady over here is also holding that stick. I really don't know what it's called in like the Southern African spirituality sort of language. So yeah, you can see those beads, you can see the dreads, you can also see the cowrie shells on her dreadlocks. Next picture. So remember when I said Lord Shiva has that snake around his neck? This Sangoma has a snake around their neck, and then they also have the same loincloth that like symbolizes on that picture of Lord Shiva. So that snake, Sangomas do not keep these snakes as pets. Some of them do, but most of them don't, because they say that the snakes are basically like a connection for them to speak to the ancestors. So the snakes work like a mediumship sort of type of thing. So the snakes are basically mediums. Yeah. Last picture. So you know how Lord Shiva has the three marks here with the vibhuti. So basically Sangomas also apply something that's like similar to vibhuti. I really don't know the name of it, but you know, the white thing around their face is to also help them to, you know, get into a trance much quicker and faster, so that they can connect with the gods and the ancestors. Okay, that was not the last picture. But do you know how Lord Shiva has the Damaru? In the first picture of Lord Shiva, they did not show it. But yeah, it's basically the two-headed drum. Sangomas also have drums. So why do they use drums? Basically, they play the drums, and when they play the drums, one of them has to like dance and then get into a trance so that they can like be able to communicate with the ancestors or the gods. So with Lord Shiva has this dance that he does with the Damaru drum, the Nataraj, which is the cosmic dance. So all of these drums, the dancing from the African side and the dancing from the Hindu side, is basically known as bhakti. So it's devotion, giving yourself to the highest source of life. So yeah guys, that was it. That's all that I wanted to share as someone who grew up practicing African traditional faiths and then later on embraced Sanatana Dharma in my life. I just found that these two things are way more similar than they are different, and I think it applies to most indigenous faiths. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and yeah, I'll see you next time.
Voodoo in West Africa has always been willing to incorporate outside influences into their spirituality, with Hinduism having some type of influence after the 1950s. Indian spirits were particularly tied to Mamawata, the voodoo of wealth and beauty who commands the sea. And Indian-derived gods were a part of her Mamisi, basically her devotees. In Hinduism, Shiva is known as the Supreme Lord, who protects and transforms the universe. But in Voodoo, he's known as Shiva Mamadan, Akpan, or Ako Ado, and his job is to clear the path for Mamawata. And aside from Shiva, there's other Hindu gods that have become Voodoo as well, such as the god Ganesha. In Hinduism, he is known to bring good luck, remove obstacles, and be the holder of wisdom. But in Voodoo, he is known as Tohusu, the spirit or Voodoo associated with royalty. There's also Krishna, the deity for compassion and love, and he is known as Edda, the Voodoo associated with the python. Make sure to follow and like.
What are some similarities between Hinduism and African spiritual practices? I saw an argument going on about this whole thing, and this video is to not say these religions are the same, because they're not the same. One does not pull from the other. Trying to say that they are one and the same is insulting to both cultures and invalidating as hell. In Hinduism, all the gods are different aspects of the Brahman. In Yoruba, all of the Orisha are just different personifications of Eledumare. In Hinduism, you have the 7 chakras or chukras, which can be found in different points of the body, the source being your crown. In Yoruba, we have the 7 African powers and the concept of Ashe. And like I said, the Orisha are different personifications of Eludumare and Ashe, and they also can be found in different points of the body, with your crown being your Ori. Hinduism has the chakras, we have Ashe, you have the Brahman, we have Eludumare. It's not the same, but it's very, very similar. Hope that clears up some confusion for you guys.